I don't know who approved this, and I don't know who thought that this was normal, this narrative.
Kim, tell me about your photo shoot with Justin.
Oh my God, it was so much fun.
What shoot did you do?
I did a shoot in the Bahamas with Justin Bieber.
But I did a photo shoot with Justin Bieber, and he was 16 years old, and I don't know how old I was, and it was like a play.
How old is Justin?
16. During the shoot, Justin said, "Oh, I have a nickname for you."
His girlfriend was there, his parents were, I mean, it was like nothing creepy at all, but...
And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Cougar."
Does he have a crush on you?
I have no idea.
I look back and I'm like, that's the one thing that I feel like, you know, he's like a good, dear friend of ours.
Do you have a crush on him?
Yeah, Kim, do you have a crush on him?
And the whole family. But like, who thought that that was a good idea?
If only he was 18.
18?
Wait, you know there's stuff all over the internet about how you're a cougar.
But it was a story of, what's that story with the teacher and the student? The graduate.
How I'm a cougar?
Yeah.
I'm not even 30 years old.
Kim, you're a cougar.
No. I am turning 30 this year.
Yeah.
Right? I just feel like that was nothing ever weird, was obviously happening, and like...
And I am freaked out. It's pretty old.
Kim Kardashian channels her
Channels
inner
her
cougar.
I just think that was like an odd concept, and why none of us thought that that was odd at the time.
With Justin Bieber.
Is this a joke?
Why they love their prey so young.
That is so embarrassing.
But now we look back and I'm like, that would have not been the most appropriate thing.
Right.
Kim Kardashian's latest revelation sent shockwaves through social media, reopening a chapter that many had forgotten: her 2010 beachside photo shoot with then-teen star Justin Bieber. Speaking with uncharacteristic candor on the Call Her Daddy podcast, Kim admitted that the creative concept, once seen as a glamorous crossover moment, was actually not the most appropriate thing. It's a rare confession from someone who built her career on flawless image control, and it instantly reignited conversations about how drastically Hollywood culture has shifted over the past decade. At the time, the photo shoot was promoted as playful and artistic, two icons from different worlds merging for a magazine fantasy. But as Kim reflected, what once seemed harmless now feels uncomfortable, even tone-deaf, when viewed through today's lens of accountability and awareness. The admission wasn't just about revisiting a past photo shoot. It symbolized something much larger: the evolution of how society interprets boundaries, age gaps, and power in the entertainment world. Kim's reflection showed growth, honesty, and a recognition that fame in the 2000s operated under very different standards. And now, as the internet revisits those glossy beach photos, the question hanging in the air is simple yet powerful. Was this just a creative mistake, or a deeper sign of how normalized questionable decisions once were in pop culture? In 2010, pop culture was entering one of its most experimental and boundary-pushing eras. Everything was about being bold, attention-grabbing, and headline-worthy, and few embodied that energy more than Kim Kardashian and Justin Bieber. Kim was already a household name, known for her reality TV empire and rising influence in the fashion world, while Justin was the world's newest teen sensation, adored by millions of fans and rapidly becoming one of the most recognized young stars on the planet. When Elle Magazine announced a joint photo shoot featuring the two, the media instantly buzzed. The concept, inspired by the classic movie The Graduate, aimed to mix elegance, youth, and playful charm. But it came with a twist that would later spark controversy. At the time, Kim was 29 and Justin was only 16, a detail that gave the project an uneasy undertone, even if it was meant to be lighthearted. The photos showed the two laughing on the beach, posing close together, and sharing a flirty energy that blurred the line between innocent and suggestive. The idea was meant to capture the tension of a Hollywood fantasy, an older, confident star sharing the frame with a younger idol at the height of his fame. But it quickly became clear that not everyone saw it that way. While many fans thought it was a fun, creative shoot, others questioned whether the concept crossed a line. Still, in 2010's celebrity-obsessed culture, where shock value sold magazines and boundaries were often stretched in the name of art, few took the issue seriously at the time. The images ran in Elle, making waves across entertainment outlets, and then quietly faded from conversation. Until now, when Kim herself revisited the moment and called it out for what it truly was, something that should have been handled differently. When the photoshoot first appeared in Elle Magazine, reactions were immediate and mixed. Some fans called it clever and artistic, praising how it played with fame and generational contrast, while others found the entire setup uncomfortable. Social media in 2010 wasn't as powerful as it is now, but even then, message boards and celebrity blogs lit up with comments questioning why a teenage pop star was being portrayed in such a mature, romanticized way. The images, playful yet intentionally suggestive, seemed to walk a fine line between humor and discomfort, leaving many unsure how to feel. Major outlets covered it as a fun fantasy moment, framing it as a celebration of Justin's rapid rise to stardom and Kim's growing fashion influence. But beneath the glossy headlines, quiet criticism was forming. Some questioned the judgment of Ellie's creative team and wondered how no one had considered the optics of pairing a minor with an adult in such a context. Still, Kim and Justin both brushed off the noise, appearing at events together afterward and joking about the shoot as if it were nothing serious. The controversy soon faded, partly because the internet was more forgiving back then, and partly because celebrity culture thrived on shock and novelty. There was little accountability or public discussion about boundaries at the time, and the media's fascination with fame often overshadowed moments that deserved closer scrutiny. In many ways, that photoshoot became a snapshot of its era, a moment when entertainment pushed limits simply because it could, and when questions of appropriateness were easily dismissed as artistic freedom. But what was overlooked then is now being re-examined through a very different cultural lens. Fast forward to today, and Kim Kardashian has finally addressed the moment head-on. During her appearance on the Call Her Daddy podcast, she spoke with rare honesty, admitting that the 2010 photoshoot with Justin Bieber wasn't the most appropriate thing. Her tone wasn't defensive, it was reflective, even slightly embarrassed, as she acknowledged how strange the concept now seems. "I think I'm gonna get canceled if I say it," she joked nervously, before explaining that she didn't know who approved the idea, or why no one questioned it at the time. Kim clarified that nothing uncomfortable ever happened on set. In fact, Bieber's parents and then-girlfriend Selena Gomez were both present during filming, but she made it clear that the creative direction itself was misguided. She said she looks back and wonders how everyone involved thought it was acceptable, noting that what once seemed normal now feels out of place in today's culture. Her admission was brief but powerful, marking one of the few times Kim has publicly reflected on her early career with such openness. For a star so known for controlling her image, this candid moment reminded fans that even icons can look back and cringe at choices made under the bright lights of fame. Behind the glossy magazine pages and beachside glamour, the story of how that photoshoot came together reveals even more about how Hollywood operated at the time. Kim Kardashian explained that the entire concept was modeled after The Graduate, a film centered on the tension between a young man and an older woman. But she admitted that neither she nor anyone else involved stopped to question how strange that dynamic was when applied to real people, especially with Bieber being only 16. She emphasized that the atmosphere on set was completely professional and family-friendly. Selena Gomez, Bieber's girlfriend at the time, was there along with his parents, stylists, and the magazine crew. Still, the tone of the shoot, which featured playful poses and subtle romantic undertones, created an image that in hindsight feels uncomfortable. Kim admitted that she didn't fully grasp how odd it looked until years later, when the cultural conversation around boundaries and representation began to evolve. What was once seen as harmless creative expression is now viewed through a more responsible lens, one that recognizes how powerful images can shape public perception. For Kim, revisiting this memory wasn't about rewriting history. It was about acknowledging that even moments done with innocent intent can carry meanings no one anticipated. And in doing so, she highlighted something that many fans have since realized. Fame often blurs perspective, and sometimes it takes distance and maturity to truly see what the world saw all along. The truth is, that photoshoot didn't happen in isolation. It reflected the mindset of an entire era in entertainment. The early 2000s were filled with projects that blurred boundaries under the banner of art or fashion, where being provocative was celebrated more than being thoughtful. Hollywood and the media thrived on pushing limits, often ignoring how those choices might look years later. Similar controversies surrounded other stars at the time, as magazines and photographers competed to capture moments that would grab attention, no matter how uncomfortable the concept might seem in hindsight. In that cultural climate, pairing a 16-year-old rising star with an adult woman wasn't seen as a serious concern. It was simply viewed as bold, daring, and marketable. But over time, audiences began to question the lack of sensitivity behind such creative decisions. What was once dismissed as harmless publicity is now understood as part of a larger pattern where youth and fame were used to sell intrigue, even at the expense of judgment. Kim's reflection shows how much things have changed. Today, there's far more awareness about the power imbalance that can exist in celebrity imagery and how easily a seemingly fun idea can cross a line. Her admission doesn't just re-examine one photo shoot, it exposes a much deeper truth about the entertainment world's past and how society has learned to draw clearer boundaries between art, age, and respect. Justin Bieber's perspective during that time adds another layer to the story. Back in 2010, Bieber was still in the early stages of his global fame, navigating the pressures of superstardom while remaining under constant media scrutiny. For him, the Elle Photoshoot was likely just another part of the whirlwind that came with his career, a playful, harmless collaboration with one of the biggest reality stars in the world. Reports from that time suggest that Bieber didn't take it too seriously. He joked about it online and treated it as fun publicity. The fact that Selena Gomez, his girlfriend at the time, and his parents were present on set reinforced that there was nothing uncomfortable happening behind the scenes. To everyone involved, it was just a creative project. But in hindsight, it's clear how differently the situation reads today. The shoot was intended to portray Justin as mature, confident, and ready for adult fame. But it also placed him in a scenario that blurred the lines between youth and adulthood in a way no teenager should have had to navigate. Neither Bieber nor Gomez has publicly responded to Kim's recent comments, but fans have been quick to re-examine that moment with empathy for how young he truly was. What's striking now is how easily such a concept passed through layers of approval – agents, editors, stylists – without anyone questioning whether it was appropriate. It shows how much the industry has evolved since then, and how moments once seen as playful can later become cautionary tales about the cost of early fame. Kim Kardashian's recent comments reignited a storm of reactions online, with fans and critics alike diving back into the decade-old debate. Clips from her Call Her Daddy interview spread rapidly across social media, as users debated whether her confession was a sign of accountability or simply an attempt to address the past before others did. Many applauded Kim for being transparent and acknowledging that the shoot was misguided, calling it a rare moment of self-awareness from a celebrity who built her career on calculated image control. Others, however, questioned why it took more than a decade for her to speak up, suggesting that the industry often waits until public attitudes shift before taking responsibility. On platforms like X and TikTok, younger audiences, who were children when the photos first came out, expressed disbelief that such a concept was ever approved, highlighting how much cultural sensitivity has evolved since 2010. Commentators pointed out that while Kim's reflection feels genuine, it also forces the public to confront just how normalized questionable creative choices once were. The renewed discussion has even led some to revisit other media from that time, recognizing similar patterns of blurred boundaries and shock value storytelling. Still, amid the criticism, many agree that Kim's willingness to admit her discomfort is an important step, not just for her image, but for the broader conversation about accountability in pop culture. For Kim Kardashian, this moment of reflection represents more than just revisiting a controversial photo shoot. It shows how much she's grown personally and professionally. On the podcast, she spoke about how her perspective has shifted over the years, especially now that she's a mother of 4. She admitted that looking back, she would never allow a similar situation to happen involving her own children, emphasizing that maturity and motherhood have changed how she views the idea of creative freedom. In her early career, she often went along with whatever opportunities promised exposure or excitement, but now she approaches fame with more caution and awareness. That sense of growth mirrors a broader cultural change in Hollywood, where conversations about boundaries, responsibility, and media ethics have become central. Kim's acknowledgement shows that even those who once benefited from the industry's old standards are now recognizing the need for accountability. It's a subtle but meaningful sign of evolution, not only for Kim as an individual, but for the entertainment world that helped shape her. She's no longer the young star chasing the next headline. She's a businesswoman and public figure using her platform to show how lessons from the past can lead to progress. And in doing so, she's reminding fans that reflection isn't weakness, it's growth, and it's something every public figure eventually has to face. In the end, Kim Kardashian's reflection on her 2010 photo shoot with Justin Bieber is more than a celebrity confession. It's a reminder of how much both Hollywood and society have evolved. What once passed as lighthearted or artistic now stands as a cautionary example of how easily boundaries can be overlooked in the pursuit of attention. Kim's willingness to acknowledge that the shoot wasn't the most appropriate thing shows a rare level of honesty in an industry built on image perfection. It also opens the door for a deeper conversation about how fame, youth, and media responsibility intersect. 15 years ago, the idea of challenging such a concept barely existed. Today, fans expect accountability and awareness from even the most powerful names in entertainment. And perhaps that's the real progress, that the culture has changed enough for figures like Kim to look back and admit when something wasn't right. Her words remind us that growth often comes from recognizing past missteps, not erasing them. As those old Elle photos resurface online, they serve as both a time capsule and a warning. Proof of how far we've come and how important it is to keep questioning what we once accepted as normal,